Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here. This is a reaction video to Doctor Who Redacted Episode 5 Interrogation. At time recording, it's Tuesday, the 17th of May 2022. So, this episode would have come out on BBC Sounds on the Sunday the 15th. So, Interrogation. This episode picks up not long after the previous episode of the BBC Sounds Doctor Who audio series Doctor Who Redacted. The previous episode, Angels, ended with the three main characters being captured by some unknown soldiers who I predicted to be Unit, because I knew Unit were going to play a part in this story later on, certainly Kate Stewart and Osgood anyway. And technically I'm right, but more on that later. So the episode sees the girls taken to this safe house where they are interrogated, then interrogated by the soldier guy who does remember the Doctor, and he's unable to get answers out of Abby and Shauna, but Cleo is able to give him some sort of knowledge, some sort of say, oh, I do know the Doctor, I do remember them, because I spoke to Rani in a previous episode. Then the guy disappears, and Kate Stewart and another guy turn up, and then the other guy is ready to kill the girls if they don't tell him anything. Cliffhanger for this episode is actually really good, as Cleo steps up to say that the guy won't kill them because they know that they need them, and they are now in charge because they've got the information. It's a really good ending to the episode, actually, especially since the girls have gone through quite a bit of shit in this episode, as well as the last couple of episodes. They've gone through quite a bit, and this episode especially, they are treated like suspects in a terrorist case, or in this case, universe-altering situation, and they've been captured by Planetary Defense Organization Unit. So they're kind of being treated a bit like shit, a little bit in this episode by initially the first guy, even Kate Stewart, who makes her debut in this episode for the series, her debut for the series in this episode. She's still kind of like acting a bit not as nice as we know her to be in the TV series. She's a little bit more tough. It's actually, this episode does remind me a lot of the Big Finish Unit audio series that they did in 2004 to 2005, which to me felt like a proto Torchwood. But the Unit in that series is definitely a more tougher and a little bit more meaner in places. Certainly a few more meaner characters in that series. It's a really good series. I did a review for Universal's last year or the year before? I'd recommend checking that video out. I think it might have been 2020, March 2020 I did the video. Yeah, so go check that review out. There's a plug. But yeah, this Unit does remind me a bit of that, and also the Torchwood episode Fragments, the series 2 penultimate episode, where Unit literally locks people up for life if they steal a couple of stuff from their warehouses. And I say lock them up for life, you would think, yeah, that sounds like a usual punishment. Unit don't do trials. Unit don't care about trials or juries or fair justice. They're not even sympathetic to the cause. If you've seen Tosh's story in that episode, you'd understand what I'm talking about. And it's only thanks to Captain Jack's intervention that she actually gets to work out. She gets to leave that place. But yeah. So basically, we've got assigned. I'm not sure about other expanded media, but in terms of this episode's portrayal of Unit, it's definitely more like how they were in the Big Finish audio series, the original one, not the new series one. Although I can't comment on that one because I haven't heard it. But in terms of the 2004 to 5 one, as well as the Torchwood episode Fragments, this one is definitely more lining them, of them being a bit more unfair, a bit less nice, and nowhere near as kind or as helpful. Well, not nowhere near, but they're not as nice or as kind and helpful as when they were helping John Pertwee's third Doctor, or when they hang out with the new series Doctors, or other classic Doctors. They're not as nice as when the Doctor hangs out with them. They're a lot more brutal and nastier in some of these other portrayals. In this episode's case, they are willing to abduct 3 women who could possibly be innocent. They think maybe they're up to something, maybe they're working for someone, maybe they're behind it or something, but because they don't actually know anything. So Unit in this episode is portrayed as the more not so friendly version of the organisation that Big Finish and Torchwood touched upon, as opposed to the nice friendly family units the John Pertwee era is most known for, or helping out the Doctor in situations in other eras. So it's interesting to see how things escalate in this episode. But what's interesting is how Cleo is able to organize it. How Cleo is able to deal with the situation and how she handles things. Postman's coming. Is he going to drop things through the... Sorry about that, just now trailing off and having to look over the side and pausing the video. Postman arrived. Didn't have to open the door or anything, but just collected the mail. Anyway, so this episode's quite interesting to see how the characters are pitted against this not so very nice unit soldier, and how Cleo is able to, all three of them are able to talk with them and see how the situation goes. Obviously, the guy's not very nice to them and kind of breaks Shauna and Abby a little bit, but Cleo is able to beat him. And also, they remember the Doctor and then they disappear. The guy and then Kate and this other guy come in. Like I said, Kate isn't as nice and friendly as she is in the TV series. She's a bit more harder, like some of the characters from the other series, the other unit audio series. But she also forgets to understand that she wants the girls to calm down, but because they're all scared and panicking. But little does she realise that Kate, these girls were brought here against their will by these random people who, as far as they are concerned, could have been aliens, or maybe they're the guys behind. Maybe they thought you were the guys behind all of this. Yeah. Sometimes units and people like Units and Torchwood and other big organisations who capture people and interrogate them, they're not always the smartest people, as well as not always the nicest by a long shot. And as mentioned, this other guy just randomly threatens to kill them. He threatens to shoot them at the end because I don't know, he's a dick. So episode 5. Interrogation. By the sound of that, it doesn't sound like a great episode, does it? But actually, it's really good. The tension is really good in this episode. As the girls are, they don't know what to do, what's going on, why they're there, and this guy is just being an absolute bastard to them. And then he disappears, and then Kate Stewart and this other guy come in, and Kate Stewart's not that great. Not that nice, sorry. She's not that nice, but she's kind of on their side. And then this other guy is an even bigger bastard than the first guy, threatening to shoot him. Next episode, I think the girls are going to be brought into unit a bit more like how the other characters in Doctor Who are. It's kind of like they're brought to headquarters and told to go what's going on, or what they don't know what is going on, and they need their help to understand what's going on. And so they can formulate a plan. We're halfway through the series, so things are going to be starting to pick up in terms of trying to find out about exactly what is going on and how to stop it. Because we got the cause and we've got the effect, but now we need the understanding and the resolution to come. And in that regards, if that's going to be how it's handled, I think this is actually a real well-structured story by this point. We're at the turning point where we're now having to try and work out what is going on and try and find a way of stopping it. And I look forward to seeing how the 5 episodes handle that. In terms of this episode, they've made more of a case of pushing the girls with Unit to work with them, but Unit don't quite trust them yet. The girls probably don't trust them yet. So it's kind of a chess piece move episode, but it's also one where we can show off the less nice side of Unit, shall we say, that the TV show doesn't really handle that much, but expanded media sometimes does, or spin-off media sometimes does. And I think it's a good one to show off the tension, and it's a pretty well-structured episode, good stuff with the characters, some great writing. Once again, Cleo is probably the MPV, I think, main talking point, the MTP. I'm not sure exactly the way, exactly the anagram, but the VTP, vocal talking point. The main character of note of this episode, she's able to go through her situation a little bit easier, as she's able to know, she actually knows a bit more than the other two, and is able to also, because of her situation as a trans woman and what she's been through and what she goes through, she's able to be a little bit less. She's still scared. She's able to put her foot down a bit more on the interrogator, and yeah, I found her to be a pretty great, pretty strong character in this episode, and pretty great with that. The other two also really good, and I love their little bond that they have at the start and when they're together. Like, if we're gonna die, we'll die together. Huggu, love-oo, and yeah, this unit is a really great unit. And after 5 episodes, you can't help but fall in love with these characters, the main three. And it's nice to hear them. And Shauna and Abby also are pretty good in their stuff. But Cleo is the main vocal talking point of the episode in terms of the characters. Plus Kate Stewart being introduced to the series at this point. Like I said, it's mostly it's not as she's not as nice as in the TV series, but she's probably not. No, she's nowhere near as mean as the other two guys in the episode. Just kind of like a typical unit grumpy unit person who well, not typical, no, she has a reason, but like, she's just not as nice as she usually is. Basically, that's the point. Well, I can't speak for the Big Finish new unit, the new series audios, but for the TV series, she's not as nice, but not as nice here, but she's still on the girl's side, give or take a bit. Once I think when they know they can all trust each other, they'll be like besties. Yeah. I think they'll all be besties once everyone's on the same page with each other, which will be good for those episodes. But this episode, it kind of does have to have that undermined tension, untrustworthy stuff, so that they can get to that besties relationship later on, if that's how things are going to go. Because that relationship won't be as realistic without the distrust beforehand, probably. Anyway, there isn't a huge much more I can say about Interrogation. It's mostly the 3 girls get interrogated, they meet Kate Stewart, and this other guy tries to shoot them, but Cleo says, oh wait, you need us actually, so you can't kill us. But it's still a really good episode, nevertheless. It might even be the best. This one, or Angels, might be the best one. It's with its tension, it's quite tense, and it builds up quite a bit, but it works pretty well as an episode. I think I would say this is probably this one might be objectively the best episode, but I'd probably put Angels above it, mainly because I enjoyed Angels a bit more, and it was about Weeping Angels, Blink, and recently Weeping Angels have been handled pretty well in the Chibnall era recently, with Village of the Angels, especially last series, and with this episode of Redacted. They're not always treated that brilliantly, but in terms of a post-Blink Weeping Angel verse, these are this and Village of the Angels are 2 of the better cases. And yeah, so that's probably why Angels is currently my favourite episode of the series. For a mid-series ranking so far, episode 0 is more of an honourable mention. It doesn't really count as a proper episode. So have that more as an honourable mention. But then I would say it's episode 3, 1 or 2, 3, 1, 2, 5, 4 in a personal ranking. Swap 4 and 5 out for maybe objective. Maybe 2 and 1. That's right. So ranking would be 0, more of an honourable mention really. 3, 1, 2, 5, 4 for me personally. And yeah, this series is pretty great. Really enjoying it so far, and looking forward to seeing hearing how the rest of the series goes. We've got 5 more episodes left, half a series, and I think by this point it's now time to start working things out or getting some answers. I don't expect answers to be coming that thick and fast too quickly. We're only mid-series, but maybe now they can start putting some pieces together, and we're starting to get some theories about what's going on. Maybe those aliens hinted at the end of episode 2, start of episode 3, could start showing up again within a couple of episodes' time. And then when we get to the last 2, that's when things start to get make a bit more sense. Plus, the resolution of the story is going to start to be played out now that we're going to pass the halfway. We're past the halfway point. The resolution's going to have to start kicking in if not with episode 6, 7 or 8. But it's got to start resolving itself sooner or later, because eventually we will reach that the finale. And as we've seen with Chibnall era series, you got to actually commit to making things wrap up cohesively. That was a big problem with The Vanquishers, Series 13's final episode. It didn't really wrap up everything. Maybe the Centenary Special will, but at this point in time, there doesn't seem to be a completion for the whole series of Flux. There seem to be some things left loose, including stuff from previous series. And then Series 12, not every episode of that series contributed much to the arc, so they just kind of kept popping in now and again, so it didn't really feel as fulfilling. And then the actual what happened in that episode itself wasn't entirely satisfying for multiple reasons. I won't get into it here, but certainly in terms of a series finale, it didn't quite wasn't as fulfilling either. It's actually felt more like setup. A setup to an arc that might not even get resolved if Chris Chibnall is telling the truth in that interview he did recently. Though he could be lying, he could be deceiving us, but we'll see. And Series 11's one didn't even have any, and Series 11's one only had the build-up of Tim Shaw returning and Ryan and Graham's relationship with each other and the stuff that Tim Shaw killed Grace. But other than that, there wasn't really much of build-up from stuff from the series, outside of maybe some character stuff. So, yeah, hopefully this series will stick the landing in terms of its story and story arc. Anyway, so that's my reaction to Doctor Who Redacted Episode 5, Interrogation. One of the stronger... the whole series has been pretty great, but this is one of the stronger of the ones, along with Angels, though each episode has been crackingly good so far. So, yeah, when I say it's one of the stronger ones, as in, okay, they're already strong, but this one in particular is really good. I'm not going to gush all over it, but I think this is a pretty strong one. A pretty solid one, at least. Yeah, if I was scoring each episode, I think this one and Angels would be 9s out of 10, and the ones before would be 8, 7 for the introduction, but that's only 2 minutes at most. So yes. Anyway, so that's it for my reaction of Doctor Who Redacted Episode 5, Interrogation. I'll see you guys next time for Episode 6 when that comes around. Until then, thank you for watching. And goodbye. Oh, well, that's a long one.